so many issues about trust and credibility and integrity in this space. And I want to talk about FTX in a moment, but I want to start with what's happening at your own firm, given the outflows this week. I saw that you said on an AMA, this is one of these Ask Me Anything, you said there's no amount of withdrawals that would put us under any pressure. But that, I think, is a very bold statement to be making. How are people and why should people trust that their money is safe at this point?
So I think thanks, Andrew, for having me. And the well-run crypto exchanges should hold user assets one-to-one. So user deposit Bitcoin, we hold it in Bitcoin, we move to a cold wallet, we keep some in the hot wallet. And people, they sell it, now the Bitcoin belongs to somebody else, but we still hold it in the cold storage. People can withdraw 100% of the assets they have on Binance. We will not have an issue in any given day. So 100% of the users withdraw 100% of the assets, we'll be fine. This is very different for traditional financial people to understand because banks run on fractional reserves. And the traditional regulators, many of them may think that it's okay for crypto businesses to be running on fractional reserves. That is not okay. In crypto, there's no central bank printing money to bail out banks when there's a liquidity crunch. So crypto businesses have to hold user assets one-to-one, and that's what we do. It's very simple.
Okay, but let me ask you about that specifically, and I don't want to get too technical, but indulge me for a moment. When you had what seemed to be liquidity issues around customers wanting USDC, it looked, at least from this vantage point, that what was happening here could have been avoided if, and tell me if I'm wrong about this, you allowed customers to deposit and hold USDC instead of what it looked like was that you auto-converted them into your own exchange dollar. Am I wrong?
That's a minor corrections. So number one is we do the auto conversion into BUSD, which is not issued by us, which is not the exchange dollar. It's actually issued by a New York DYF licensed entity, Paxos. So the reserves are in New York. It's a stable coin. The problem we had before is we have many different types of stable coins on Binance. And Bitcoin trades against USDC, Bitcoin trades against BUSD, and the USDT, there's TUSD, there's a bunch of other things. And then it's very difficult for users to find the best price. So we said, okay, they're all stable coins and they should convert one-to-one. So let's combine all of them into one so that the users just they want to buy Bitcoin, they go to Bitcoin BUSD and they find it. On the deposit and withdrawal, we do the conversion. We have channels to convert them one-to-one, but the channels we have actually have to go through a bank because to convert from BUSD to USDC, we have to sell BUSD into US dollars, cash in a bank, move it to a different bank account, and then buy USDC at a different institution. So that day, we had more users trying to buy or trying to deposit BUSD and withdrawing USDC. And we ran out of that. And the bank that does the conversion doesn't open until 6 hours later. And that's a bank in New York. So we were actually blocked. This issue was actually caused by a bank. So that's what, and stable coins is the only one we convert. Every other asset, people deposit Bitcoin, we hold Bitcoin. People deposit Ethereum, we hold Ethereum.
Right. And you understand why I'm asking that question, because it does appear in that instance, at least, that when you said no amount of withdrawals would put you under pressure, by default, it put you under pressure, whether it was you're doing or some other bank's doing. And so the question is, longer term, would you reevaluate how you do that?
So we have the assets to convert. So there's no margin, no leverage. We just needed the bank to open. So the bank opened 6 hours later, it was fine. So banks don't work for 24 hours a day. Banks only work for a few hours a day. And when you try to, and when banks are shut down, when banks are closed, you try to withdraw money, it doesn't work. That's exactly the same situation that happened. And we allowed people to withdraw other stable coins onto other platforms to do conversion if they want. So there was not a liquidity issue. It was just, there was a conversion issue that was going through the bank.
In terms of the credibility of Binance, you disclosed that Binance holds about $60 billion of crypto assets. But thus far, you haven't disclosed your liabilities. And I wonder why that is and whether you will.
Yeah, so we are working with firms to do the audited financials, liabilities, etc. Very simply, Binance does not owe people money. Binance does not have loans from other companies, from other funds. We just don't have it. You can ask any fund in the ecosystem. You can ask any VC. we actually also do not have VC investments. So we don't owe anybody any money. And we also do not have loans to other people that we depend on for our next payroll. So we are very simple, very self-contained type of organization. And we manage our cash very simply. So that's very, very different from the FTX situation where so people who are hurt by FTX are now worried about everybody else. And they were defending FTX before, that's why they have money on FTX. So, but just because they're bitten by one snake doesn't mean that every other animal is the same.